Hello friends, my name is Alex and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I thought it would be just a fun time to pull out the camera, sit in front of the cozy fire that my husband made tonight, and chat with you about some of the books that I am hoping to get read by the end of this year. So I am not awesome at making a monthly TBR. I am a mood reader. I thought instead of doing like a November TBR and a December TBR, instead I would sit with you here and tell you 8 of the books that I have at the top of my priority list to get read by the end of 2022. So the first one I want to talk to you about is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a debut adult gothic fantasy novel with a tarot-inspired magic system, and we follow our main character, Elspeth, who has a secret. She has this voice, this spirit trapped inside of her mind that is kind of related to dark magic, and she calls him Nightmare. When Elspeth meets a highwayman who also happens to be the king's nephew, who is on the run for committing treason, she gets roped into this plan to save the kingdom from the dark magic that is plaguing it by collecting the 12 Providence cards in order to save the kingdom. But things start to go sideways when it becomes clear that Nightmare is taking over Elspeth's mind, and she's not going to be able to keep this secret of hers for very long. So I am super excited to read this one. I love reading debut novels, and One Dark Window is one that I've heard about a lot recently. I had to go out and grab it as soon as it came out. I can't wait to get into this one. This dark gothic fantasy seems like a great read for the cold fall and winter months. Next up, we have Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. This is a witchy small town rom-com about a main character named Emerson, who is a bookstore owner, and she discovers a group of dark magic users trying to take over her town, as well as some secret magical abilities that she herself did not know that she possessed. There is a longtime rivalry between Emerson and the town mayor. There is a budding romance with a local farmer and a childhood friend, and a dark, sinister force trying to take over this small Midwestern town. So this book just sounds like a hoot. Emerson is going to have to master her own newly discovered powers to try to save her beloved town, and I am super excited to read this one. I have said before, I will say it again, I am not a huge romance reader, but when it is combined with other things like these fantasy elements is when I really feel like I enjoy them a lot. So I'm hoping that this one will be a hit for me and fit that romance niche that I really enjoy. Next up is one that I do not have a physical copy of. I plan to do the audiobook, which I actually have on loan from the library on Libby app right now, and that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Now, I really love the Hulu show Only Murders in the Building with Selena Gomez. I think that this book is the perfect book for me because of that. So in The Thursday Murder Club, we follow a group of friends who meet up once a week in their retirement village to investigate these unsolved murder cases. And when a murder takes place within their own retirement community, they take it upon themselves to crack this case. And these 4 unlikely detectives find themselves in the midst of this investigation, and obviously the stakes get higher and they need to solve this case before somebody else becomes a victim of this murderer. So this sounds, again, like a hoot. I don't enjoy like a super dark, creepy mystery, but a fun, lighthearted, funny mystery set in a retirement center sounds like the perfect read for me. I am really excited to do this one on audiobook. I think it's gonna be a super fun time. Next up, we have a book that I recently purchased because this is an author that I have been really wanting to read for a while, and this author is doing an event with Adrienne Young in my area in December that I plan to go to for Adrienne Young's new book, Saint, which I talked about in my upcoming releases video. But the author that is doing the event with her is Laini Taylor. I have been wanting to read a Laini Taylor book for a long time, so I decided this is the perfect time. I need to read one before this event. So I got Strange the Dreamer. And this book, I honestly don't feel like I can describe very well. I don't feel like even reading a synopsis, I really feel like I understand what it's about, and I think that's okay. I've heard that Laini Taylor's writing is really beautiful and lyrical and kind of dreamlike, and I am super excited to get into it. But from what I do know, Strange the Dreamer is the story of a man called Laszlo Strange who has his whole life, some fun crackles, his whole life he has been obsessed with this lost kind of mythic mystical city called Weep. And it disappeared, I think, 200 years ago, and nobody really knows what happened or why it's lost, and he's just kind of obsessed with this idea. And things fall into place where he has a chance to discover the city, uncover some mysteries. There is a character called the Godslayer. There is a blue-skinned goddess who visits him in his dreams. Lots of things that make absolutely zero sense to me now because I haven't read the book yet, but I can't wait to figure out what the heck they do mean and dive into this book. I have just heard the best things, so I am super, super excited. And once again, I mean, such a beautiful book. So I'm really excited to read this one and hopefully get it done before going to the event with Laini Taylor and Adrienne Young. Next up is one I am sure most people have already heard of. This is a very beloved book, a very beloved author. The last Sarah J. Maas series that I have left to read is Crescent City, and I am planning to do a buddy read with my friend this month in November to read this first book, and I also have it on audiobook because I know that there is no chance I'm gonna get through this chunky book in the same speed as my friend without also listening to it on audiobook. But for those who don't know, Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas is the story of our main character, Bryce Quinlan, who is living her dream life in this city full of paranormal creatures until her best friends are brutally murdered. With the criminal supposedly behind bars, unfortunately, these crimes start happening again, and it comes to light that the criminal that was caught is not actually the culprit behind these murders. So Bryce ends up caught up in this investigation to uncover the real killer and help avenge her friends who were murdered. She ends up teaming up with a fallen angel named Hunt and going out to solve this crime. And I am here for the trend right now of like the fantasy murder mystery. I'm really excited to read more stories with that trope. I think it's really fun. And obviously Sarah J. Maas is a fan favorite of the fantasy community. So I'm really excited to read this final series of hers that I have not read yet and figure out what the hype is about Crescent City. Next, we have The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. If you saw my Owl Crate unboxing video for October, then you saw this lovely special edition that I got in that box, and I can't wait to read this book. I really hope to pick it up very, very soon. The Whispering Dark is a debut young adult fantasy novel with dark academia vibes, and I am here for those. If you have watched any videos on my channel, you know that I am a huge fan of dark academia books. So Delaney, our main character, is a deaf young woman with a very strange connection to the afterlife, and she is accepted into a prestigious university that specializes in teaching its students how to slip between different worlds. So wild. Then we have Colton, a young man who, when he was 9 years old, died, but he woke up alive a few weeks later with no explanation as to why. And these two end up at the same school, but they are told to keep away from one another until they get forced together by the death of a fellow student. As reluctant and forbidden allies, Delaney and Colton have to work together to solve this murder and also uncover the secrets of their university. So this sounds like a really great dark academia novel. I am always looking for the next thing, the new book that someone is coming out with that trope, because it is just my absolute favorite. I am living for it, and this one sounds like no exception. I think it is going to be an excellent read, especially again for the fall and winter season. Next up, we have a Bookstagram darling and a favorite of so many of my bookish friends. It is about time that I finally read The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I apologize, I don't know the pronunciation, but The Raven Boys is a favorite of so many of my friends. I am very late to this game, but again, I feel like it is the perfect time of year, perfect time to pick up this kind of spooky fantasy story. I've been told that this story is very difficult to describe, similar to Strange the Dreamer possibly, and that the synopsis does not really do justice to the story, but I'm going to attempt to give you a brief synopsis anyways. I have no idea if this is really very accurate, but according to Goodreads, this is the story about Blue, who is the daughter of a clairvoyant woman who can see the soon-to-be dead, and Blue has never seen them before until one day a young boy appears to her and begins speaking to her, and she becomes very fascinated with this boy who is presumably soon to be dead, and she finds out that he attends this private boys' university near her home, and she gets involved with him and his group of friends called the Raven Boys. Now, these boys are into their own mystery, their own quest. I believe it has something to do with a dead Welsh king. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm trying. This book seems like it has so many layers to it. Again, similar to those like kind of dark academia vibes, the private school, this group of boys that Blue gets mixed up with, and she has been told her whole life that her true love is going to die because of her, and she's never been all that worried about it until she ends up mixed up with the Raven Boys. So I don't know what's taken me so long to read this book, honestly. It sounds right up my alley. It sounds like something I'm going to love, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into this one. And the last one I want to talk to you about is once again one that I don't have a copy of. I hope to buy it soon, or I also have it on hold at the library if that comes in soon enough, but it is Shady Hollow by Juno Black. And I have been hearing a lot around booktube lately about the cozy mystery genre, and I'm honestly not sure if I've ever read a book in that genre before. Maybe I have, but it sounded really intriguing to me, and in some of these videos that I have watched or some of these lists that I have seen of cozy mysteries, the one that stands out to me the most that I am hoping to read this year is Shady Hollow. So this is a kind of quirky, kitschy mystery about a town full of woodland creatures, and we follow our main character Vera, who is a fox but also a reporter, and she is investigating a case of a curmudgeon-y, grumpy old toad who shows up dead in her town, and it turns out that this might be a murder. So Vera begins investigating this and kind of stirs up lots of other layers to this mystery, and it turns out that there might be other people who are in danger in her town, and somebody will do anything to make sure that Vera does not uncover this mystery. So this sounds really cute, really quirky, the woodland creatures vibe. I don't know what it is about it that sticks out to me, but I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I want to know. It kind of gives me Zootopia vibes. I've also heard Crescent City compared to Zootopia. I don't know what my deal is right now. Maybe I just missed the spooky season vibe and like I'm doing it now, but I have a lot of mysteries in this list, and this is one that sounds super fun to me. You know, I told you I don't do a ton of thrillers, so the cozy mystery vibe seems like it might be my thing. So I'm excited to check it out. I'm excited to give it a shot, and that is the last of my 8 books that I am hoping to read before the end of this year. I also have a video of new releases coming out that I am super excited for, which you can check out in whichever corner that is. But I didn't include any of those in this video because I didn't want to repeat myself, but I am sure I will try to squeeze in as many of those as I can as well. Hopefully I can actually read all 8 of these and report back to you by the end of the year about my thoughts and feelings on them. So if you have read any of these books, please let me know what you thought about them, if you think I should put them up high on my list, or if they weren't your favorite and you think I should stick them at the bottom. And if you haven't read any of them, let me know in the comments which one sounds the most interesting to you that you think I should prioritize at the top of my list. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this cozy, dwindling fireside chat. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. That really helps me and means so much. If you would like to see more content from me, wrap-up videos, unboxings, reading vlogs, all sorts of bookish content, then please subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love to hang out with you some more in the future. That is all I have for you today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!